if there is money coming to me in the future, and I am grandfathered in, and that's true from what I heard. You know what I was told when I was in Florida? The one that did this to me. There was a serial killer that went around and killed prostitutes. And the police, the local police, being the police department in Florida, let the individual kill the prostitutes. And they were allowing it. That's what Jeremy told me. When we were at Gyros and I was eating steak sub, and I said, I don't really eat this that much anymore. And he was telling me that for a reason. I'm not a murderer. But if I have money coming to me in the next couple of years with what you're doing to me and torturing me with what you've done to my family and my son, almost every police officer knows that I'm being targeted and being tortured. 99 something percent of them, the majority of them, know that I'm an innocent man and that I'm being tortured. Even though it doesn't appear to be sometimes, I am being tortured. And my youth is being taken away from me. I mean, you've been doing this to me for 5, almost 6 years, but you've been targeting me since 2011. But you knew who I was and how intelligent I was when I was 18 on Fort Lewis Army Base. That's why you ran me out of the military, right? You're gonna make me be such an evil man to where if I hear you say I appreciate it, you're all set, move forward, clear, or you give any type of inclination to where I know you know what's been happening to me, being tortured and none of you would do your job, do you think they're gonna get in my way in the future? Now I'm 40. I turned 41 in February. And I was told it's around when I'm 44. I'm not gonna stay here much longer in this country. I don't believe I am. But if you come around me and you stare at me and try to pick a fight with me, I'm not going to be Mr. Nice Man no more. Sweetheart, loving kindness, everything that I wrote. How nice I might be. One of the nicest men in the whole world. Holy roller. How many people have been called that? I'm going to be so evil to you people. You have no idea how evil I'll be. When I went to the Pentagon and I saw that laser shooting up into the air because they're following me with drones and a spacecraft, and you're all trying to say I'm crazy. Seeing the Pentagon gates to where they don't check people who drive onto it to go there when it's supposed to be a secured location, like a military base. I know this country isn't the country what it was in 2015. I am going to be the evilest man to ever walk the earth, but as a holy roller doing that. Because when you do these voices and I make a phone call to you and I just did something, you let me know somehow that you know what's going on with me, what happened to my mother, what happened to my son, my 3 family members that were killed. See, the police officers and police departments might be owned by the individuals that are doing this to me. They are. I was told by a news station that you own them. But the individuals themselves, as soon as they know I'm innocent, they don't want anything to do with me unless they're evil. Like, well, what happened with Summer? They know I was protecting her for about 1.8 years. But see, they can control her. So when she walks into a bathroom or she disappears somewhere, they'll get her to have sex with somebody or give somebody head. And they blink her out. She starts blinking rapidly, and she goes catatonic, and somebody rapes her. And I firsthand have seen this, so I know she can do it. Go into that state of mind to where she doesn't know what's happening to her, and men actually do that to her. Rape her when she goes unconscious, and she doesn't know what's going on. Protecting her for 1.8 years. And then you say, I threatened her or I threatened her family when I was worried about her and I know her family's controlled by the Illuminati. The dad, the brother, and the mother let me know when I was living there. Either aware they know they are or unaware they are. It doesn't matter, it's still one and the same because they don't care what happens to her daughter. And then her daughter, Yana, climbs in the window at 3 in the morning. I saw the whole personality change. Same thing with Rue. They got into their minds. You do this to children. You cattle them if they're female as if they're whores. This is what you do. This is what you Illuminati do. And you treat them as if they are just pincushions for men. Maybe women too. I don't know. There wouldn't be pincushions that way, right? But pincushions for men. See, I don't like any of that. Your childhood is your childhood. You only get to be a child for so long until you're an adult. You're an adult for a long time. And you pass puberty and you become an adult around 18, 19 years old. You're considered an adult in this world. Unless you're in a different culture, and they try to say you're an adult after you get your period if you're a female. See, I don't like any of that, and I never will. And no matter what you do to me, I'm never going to like it. I don't like it. I don't like hurting children and women. There are some evil women, but most women have a comforting instinct inside of them. I'm not using the proper words because I'm being manipulated and hindered down with the way I think. Obviously, you can find that out by watching previous videos that I've recorded that I'm not talking the same. But I'm aware of everything that's happening, and the things I would have to say, nobody can make it up. I don't like it. I don't like what you do to women and children. Just because you men are unattractive and you want to be with a woman that's beyond you in the attractive level, and you want to be with them physically, but you don't want to be with them spiritually and physically, but you just want to have sex with them. I don't like that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now that you've destroyed my face, I'm not as attractive as I was 4 months ago. I was considered attractive. Summer would say you're a 9 and I love your eyes. I've had other women do that. Tell me I'm a 9. I believe I'm a 6 or a 7 if I was placed next to other men. If you get to know my personality is what makes me a 9. Because I'm funny. Very funny. And I'm authentic with my personality. I'm not faking it till I make it so I can get you. I don't do that. I have my different moods, but I usually can control them. Elevated, de-elevated emotions. Usually I know who I am. I understand my feelings. And I understand what to do and what not to do when my feelings are taking control of my body. You Illuminati people racketeered me in 2015 to make Trump president. I did 70, 80, 90% of the work. I loved the man. No matter what he did behind closed doors, per se, I don't know because I wasn't there. But I loved him. So I chose him. So to me, he was like Saul, and I was supposed to be David. That's why I wrote up a new Art of War book. My mind isn't what it used to be. I used to be able to think about 5, 6 things at once, come back to it, tab it in my head, speak. A thought would pop in my mind and I tab it. I'd have associative memories where I can run videos in my brain and see the person speaking and see the whole scenery of everything. Can't do that anymore. My deductive reasoning was maxed out. If a human being had a max point of deductive reasoning with their memory of being able to remember things and their sense of a truth meter to be able to read people like an empath, to know if they're telling the truth or not, my level was maxed out. So you couldn't surpass me, but you could contend to my level is what a human could do. See, I'm being damaged by weaponry, which are drones hitting my head, destroying my face, my body, and my internal parts. My joints are getting weaker because they're destroying me with these things for no reason. I put so many of you into power in the Illuminati. Not very intelligent, but I explain things as you would say one of your members says assault battle writings. So it's very simple the way I write things and I speak because I use simple types words. I don't use complicated words. As people use complicated words, there's a sentence for the complicated word to explain the word rather than say the complicated word to make yourself sound intelligent. You say a sentence rather than the word so everybody understands it. What you're doing to me, what you've done to my family, and destroying me for no reason, as Tyrus would say, they didn't want you to help the world. Not the country, the world. So we know I was going to help the world become peaceful. The attractiveness that I had, not the most attractive man, but I'm pleasing to look at, is because I was supposed to be teaching. If you're pleasing to look at, people tend to pay more attention to you than if you're not as pleasing. That's just the way we are in our mind. It's the way we think. Most of us, not all of us. But that's why I was attractive. And I never wanted anybody's women. I wanted one woman. And the woman I chose when I was going to work at Fox News was Tommy Warren. And you all were so jealous, supposedly, that she was so in love with me because of my debating skills. Because nobody can contend in conversation with me unless they were speaking the truth. And then I would say, touche, when you're correct on something. And when she went to school, she did debates as well. And I like intelligence. I like common sense. And I like it when people talk truth. And I like it when people say, I don't know, and don't try to speak about things they're not sure of. And if you do, give a percentage thereof of what you think you're right, or say the words I think after you say it. I have a tendency not to always do that, but the way I was in 2018, the level of awareness that I became and intelligence, I had something for everything. If you said something, I have something to say about it because I've studied so many different things. And I paid attention, observed to so many other people saying other things. And I'm a little bit of an empath, so I'm empathetic and I'm sympathetic with individuals that I can relate to you. Being the emotion that you're in, I can connect to you as if I'm you. You're sad, you're mad, being you're crying, happy or sad. I can put myself in your shoes, even if the shoes don't fit. It's still as if your shoes are on me because I care. And I'm authentic in the caring of if you're happy rather than sad. That's who I am inside. It's not who I am outside. Rather than inside. Inside, I'm more of that than you see me speak. And the way I am, it's not matched equally. It's more inside me than outside me. That's all your problems. You prefer, Illuminati, to do evil works rather than good works. People follow good leaders. People that follow bad leaders have to not be in the right state of mind. They don't think properly. And they typically won't like you unless they're bad themselves. And or you're taking care of them and they're bad. They know you're bad. And the only way they can get things is if they're bad. Because I didn't know bad when I was becoming part of the organization of the Illuminati meant evil, and pure evil, not just bad. We all do bad things. We can think bad thoughts. Not always good or great thoughts. We don't always do good or great deeds. We don't always speak good and great things. Sometimes the bad comes to us first, or the bad comes to us second after we think the good because of our emotions. Because we're all human, I think. But where I've came to terms with is there's humans, and just like everything else, there's subspecies of that. Share the same chromosomes, but they're different because they eat different things and they live in different places. So they become lesser thereof of the human that they are, being, if we're talking about spiders, cats, same chromosomes, but different DNA and RNA coding being written because of the adaptation, not because of evolution, as Tommy Lauren would do with her quotation marks. See, that's the term in reality I came to after being tortured for so long. While you Illuminati members try to say I'm crazy, get ahead of me with everything I'm doing, stopping me from bettering myself when I'm trying to bring peace to the world, not just a kingdom in one part of the world, but all the world, keeping the same culture, but bringing a sense of awareness, bringing to a level of wisdom to teach you understanding of yourself so you can understand other people when you're speaking to them. Rather than compare yourself ill, you compare yourself in a good way and you look at the other person in a good light if they're better than you in something that you're not good at. That's all your problems, is your egos carry you in a bad light. Because you're shining lights which are artificial and aren't who you really are. That's not what you're meant to be. But you extend yourself past the limit thereof of who you should be rather than what you are. See, everybody has a desire for power and the authority over things. I retract that. I don't see everybody, but a lot of people do enjoy that shouldn't be in that position. That's where you get counselors if you are sitting in a seat of power that are more intelligent than you. As they say, you are like the 5 people that you keep around you. They become a piece of you. Maybe not all of you, depending the type of mindset you have and what you intake, is how these other individuals will influence you and change you. Make you think something different when you say something. They say something, either that you agree with or disagree with. Either you remember it or you don't remember it, or you remember it subconsciously. That's the way that goes. So if you're a good leader, a great leader, you keep the most intelligent people around you to better yourself, because then they bring you to their level. Being good, peaceful, is always the best way to go in everything. But I didn't know that lunatics don't like to negotiate. Sadists that enjoy the suffering of others won't ever negotiate. They know their clubhouse they're building is crazy because of what they're doing is crazy. As the way they treat people, being they have to be evil because they're not that intelligent, is crazy. And they're aware of what they're doing. But anybody has understanding on a 5th grade level. If things are explained to you properly, mostly everybody does. Unless you're autistic, you have to have it taught to you a special way. Usually, everybody understands 5th grade writings if they're made in full sentences. Not the greatest analogy, but it does make sense. I don't understand, for the life of me, why you Illuminati hate Christians so much. Why? They're peaceful. And if you are a Christian, you're trying to follow the laws of the Lord. See, because when you follow the laws of the Lord, you don't try to hurt your neighbor or hinder your neighbor from having their own life. See, when a person gets to make their own choices and they have free will, and they're not being evil, usually they're happy. They find joy inside themselves. And if they're in an unhappy situation, they go to the joy which is inside themselves and they make themselves happy because they bring them to a place in their mind of a better thought process that takes them back to being happy. You shouldn't covet your neighbor, meaning that you shouldn't look at your neighbor and compare yourself ill. If they get a nice car, you should be happy for them rather than saying, I want what they have. Let me get something better. You people actually come to a thought process that makes you think similar thereof to that. Not in that type of wording in your mind, not all of you, but a lot of you do. It's where you go in your mind and thoughts, if you can think, which I can't think nearly as fast as I could just 2 years ago in October 2018. But I am still who I am, so I don't really think too much anymore. The words just come out of my mouth because the information's there, but it's not so much traveling through my mind since all the damage I've taken in. Commandments were said a little bit complicated. Let me simplify some of them for you. Adultery. You don't try to take away from another family. If there's another family, no matter what they have, it's not yours. What belongs to another family is collectively theirs together. Husband and wife, what's his is his, what's his is hers, and what's hers is hers, and what's hers is his. Same thing with the kids or anything they own, it's theirs. It's not yours. It belongs to them. And I'm talking about the whole picture of it. So your influence shouldn't be negative toward that family. It should be a positive. Speakings and in thought. Because what we think betters us inside. As what you think, you build inside yourself. As what you say, you build inside yourself, but you're building outside yourself as well. And what you're building outside yourself, if it's not inside yourself, what you're building outside yourself just isn't complete truth, is it? Different levels of truth of what you're saying and the reasons why you're saying it and or doing it. But what you're building outside of you has no place inside of you because like a puzzle, as you're building those pieces outside of you and putting that picture together, what you're displaying is a picture for reasonings of outside sources and for yourself. Because you're lying, so you're making fake puzzle pieces. But inside yourself, that puzzle wouldn't fit together. That's not the real picture per se. You have to make what is inside yourself outside yourself. You have to be true to yourself. Because what you're painting outside yourself or putting together outside yourself should match what's inside yourself. Because you're putting on a display of this is who I really am. And your problems, what you do, and what has happened to this country affects the world. We were the number one country out of 195 countries in all the world the United States was in 2015. You could climb ladders. Not so much so easy into government, but it was fair because everybody had free will. So what you say and what you do, you could get an audience being the way you're presenting yourself. I'm not saying everything I want to say because I can't think clear, I'm just speaking because all the brain damage that I've taken from getting hit with all the arrays and energy beams in the back of my head and in top of my head and the dark energy and everything they're hitting me with. At first, I never said any of that stuff or spoke about it because they always want to go to the crazy card. But at this point, I just don't care anymore because I know they own the police departments. That's why civilians don't attack me. I don't care if I die. And I'm not scared of nothing. I'm not really scared of too much. Maybe, I'm not scared of dying. I don't care. I want to live. I'm not stupid. But I'm not scared of dying, and pain don't mean too much to me. I was burned for 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So, I mean, I could be stabbed, shot. Unless I'm going to die, I'm still not going to care too much. I don't care. I don't. Mostly pains that you can recover from. Don't care. I mean, if something permanent that's making me a cripple, I mean, that's when I start to care. But I don't care. See, when I just branched off what I was speaking about, I could go right back to it. And I can't so much anymore because of the hindrances and the damage that I've taken. I just don't understand. I'd have to go back and listen to it and continue on where I'm at. I'm sorry. It damaged me a lot. I don't understand why you have fake journalism. When I think about it, I do. It's because the people that are in power, if there was really news studios being what they do behind closed doors, the people would know. And they wouldn't like it, would they? But the little people, that's okay, and even still, it has to be controlled. So journalism hasn't been around since about 1851. Some little news stations do it, the ones on YouTube, but the major ones, not so much. They only talk about what they're allowed to talk about, and they go in circle conversation, acting like they care when they're reading prompters. I don't understand why there's not real journalism. That's been gone for a while. And then freedom of speech. Freedom of speech states you can say what you want. Freedom of speech. You can say anything you want. If somebody's saying something you don't want to hear, remove yourself from the situation, being where you can hear it, get away from them if you can, but if it's somewhere where you're allowed to be as if you're